What's up guys, today we're going to be talking about ALGS Raleigh. I'm going to go over predictions for teams and metas we're going to see and other related topics. So I'll get the most important question out of the way first. Who do I think will win this tourney? So it's hard to predict who's going to win because of match point format. It ends up being like kind of coin flippy because you could be a super strong team and not be able to close out the last game, which doesn't mean you're a bad team or not capable of winning. It could have been the zones could not have pulled on you, teams could have been focusing you. There's so many things that play into that. I think the teams that have the best chance of winning are Rig, Liquid, Optic, and TSM. Reignite won the last ALGS major, but they did have a substitute for their team. I think Jen Burton is a very strong player, so I don't think that'll make much of a difference. I think they might actually have a better chance of winning this tourney with Jen Burton on the team now. Liquid got second last tourney. They're a very strong team. I think they surprised everybody with their performance. I think they are super sturdy and they play very well. I have high hopes for them this tourney as well. I could see them taking it home. Optic is a team that got fourth last tourney. I think a lot of people thought they were going to win it all. They dominated all of the group stages, but kind of just couldn't close it out on match point. So TSM placed the worst out of all these teams last tourney, but I think they look amazing in scrims. They look very in stride, and they look like they're working so well together and trying all these new comps as well too. They're kind of like my underdog out of all those teams I just mentioned, just to see them win. One thing that I'm looking forward to seeing is if C9 and Reignite will live up to their past performances at ALGS. So if you did not know, C9 and Rig both had substitutes during their last performance, but they both placed extremely well and Reignite even won what they sub. So Reignite had J&W stand in for Jen Burton, and they're both on support / fragger roles. So Jen Burton coming back in is still going to be the same role, still going to be a fragger role. I don't think it'll change the team dynamic too much. I think they'll actually be better off because Jen Burton is absolutely insane. One of the best controller players in the entire game for sure, if not the best. I expect them to still place insanely well. Cloud9 is the one I'm more curious about. They had Graceful step in for them. And the thing with Cloud9 compared to Rig is Cloud9 had their IGL substitute. So Graceful is IGL for them instead of Zach. So I'm wondering if having Zach as an IGL will be worse for them for this tourney or better, right? Because this is their normal IGL, so in theory it should be better. But there was something about Graceful IGLing that just made them play out of their minds. I don't know if it was like a first time thing where like you have to have insane amounts of respect for each other because it's your first time playing together. Whereas a normal IGL, you kind of like just your day-to-day friends, you don't respect each other as much, you know? I'm very curious how C9 and Rig will perform this tourney. This tourney is going to have the most diverse meta we've ever seen in any Apex Legends tournament. So here's some of the teams and what they're playing. Hunter T will be playing Newcastle, Watson, Valk. Liquid will be playing Loba, Valk, Gibby. TSM and Furia will be playing Seer, Valk, Maggie. APAC teams play Watson, Valk, and Crypto. Optic and Alliance, Caustic, Gibby, and Valk. And that's just some of the teams. This isn't all of the teams. This is a crazy diverse meta for this tourney. I think one of the more interesting ones is Hunter T, Newcastle, Watson, Valk. So Watson is a very defensive character, and with that comp, your goal is to play mid-circle, right? Watson doesn't do good on edge, so you have to be in zone. So Valkyrie is your rotational character to get you past people and to get you to zone fast. Watson is to set up in zone, and Newcastle also is a defensive character too. When you place your ulti down, it acts as like a big shield for your team in a way. So they're playing a super defensive comp, trying to play early zone. So also TSM and Furia, their comps are very interesting as well. I will say Watson definitely started the Seer meta. Shout out to him, the goated rank grinder. Seer Valk Maggie is very interesting. Seer is a very strong, aggressive character. Seer scan cancels reses, cancels bats. You can kind of checkmate people very hard with that character. Super aggressive. Valkyrie is again another just a rotational character to get you out of bad situations. Maggie is a very aggressive character. She's a counter to Gibraltar. Her Q you can shoot out of a bubble and hit people while they're healing inside of it. You throw Maggie ult to close distance and to stun people with it. So TSM and Fury are basically going full aggro with these comps, playing for kills the entire time. I'm kind of curious how it's going to pan out when it comes to tourney time, because a lot of people try and run these really aggressive comps in scrims, right, or in local tourneys like B tier tourneys for the region, but come like main stage, a lot of people don't really like hard W key like you think they would with these comps. They end up playing a little slower, not fighting until like third or fourth ring. I'm curious if some of these really aggressive comps are going to actually fight early, like second ring or so, or if they're going to end up just playing passive like people normally do come main stage time. All right, so next I'm going to be talking about who do I think is the dark horse of the tourney. So I have two teams in mind for this. It's Pulverex, previously Unite. They got third in the last ALGS major, and Furia. So Team Pulverex is a very strong team. They play Watson, Crypto, Valk. They're just very consistent. They're so consistent. I was so surprised at how they placed last tourney. I didn't know much about them, but I kept seeing them top 5 and winning games non-stop. They seem to just have their placements down to a T. They're a very strong team. But they still seem to get overlooked, even though they're very strong and even got 3rd last tourney. Furia is kind of a weird pick for me. I think what makes him so weird is that his Watson is the IGL and he's a ranked grinder, and he plays very interesting metas. He thinks outside of the box. He doesn't just follow what other people think is meta. He plays Seer, which a lot of people just caught on to. That is a very strong character. I think he just thinks in a very unique way compared to other people. Like, a lot of teams are very one-dimensional, like, oh, the game has to be played this way, whereas his Watson thinks like, no, the game could be played any way I want it to be, right? I think Furia has a strong chance of, I don't know about winning, but being top 5. I think either Furia flops or they bomb this whole tourney. So that is kind of all the topics I wanted to cover for this. I don't want to make this too lengthy. When the tourney is being broadcasted, I will be reviewing all of the games, talking about why each teams are doing well, why teams aren't doing well, what comps are being used, and things like that. If you guys enjoyed watching, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I will be back with more ALGS coverage. All right, peace out.